Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today's video I'm going to be going over and doing a detailed deck profile for Rapid Striker Urshifu VMAX, but this isn't just any Rapid Striker Urshifu VMAX. This is the Rapid Striker Urshifu VMAX list that I've created that plays one copy of Blacephalon. I think this card is very, very powerful in this deck. It has an attack for a Psychic and a colorless that you place 4 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon any way that you like, but if your opponent has exactly 3 prize cards remaining, you get to place 12 damage counters on them instead. So we are going to be comboing that, of course, with our Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX, which is an awesome card that's coming on Battle Styles that has an attack for 1 fighting energy. We do 30 damage, but if we came to the active this turn, then we do 120 more damage. Then we have an attack for 2 fighting and a colorless, where we discard all energy from this Pokemon and deal 120 damage to 2 of our opponent's Pokemon. So what we're aiming to do with this deck is spread some damage around and get some big damage for cheap on the board. And then when your Urshifu gets knocked out, that's when you go in with Docephalon, and Docephalon can take 5, sometimes even 6 prize cards in one attack. So yeah, let's get right into the deck profile. Now, before we get into it, I actually have a video on this archetype up on my channel already. So if you want to see a list that is a little less refined than this one, you can go check out that video. But I think this list right here is the best ones. If you're looking to play this archetype, I think this list right here is the best one that you're going to find. So starting off, we have the 4 copies of Rapid Striker Urshifu VMAX and 4 copies of the V. This shouldn't be of any surprise. It's our main attacker, so we're going to want to run a 4-4 line. We haven't looked at the V yet. The V has an attack for 1 fighting where we do 30 damage, but if we, just 30 damage for 1 fighting, and then we switch it onto the bench, and then an attack for 2 fighting, and the colorless deals 150 damage. So not as good as the VMAX, but in an emergency situation, Strafe can be used to get that Urshifu out of the active. And 100 Furious Blows is, it's just it's a vanilla attack that you can use. So we have 4 of those guys. As our other attacker that we have is the 1 copy of Docephalon. I went over this card already, but it just pairs so well with the Rapid Striker Urshifu VMAX. You can hit a VMAX twice with Gale Thrust and have it do 150 damage, and you can finish it off with Docephalon and maybe take a knockout on another 70 HP Pokemon that your opponent has for 4 prize cards. You can hit a VMAX with Gale Thrust and then Gmax Rapid Flow, and then so you can go get Gale Thrust, hit the active for 150, and then Gmax Rapid Flow, hit the active, and hit a support Pokemon on the bench, and then use Fireworks Bomb to finish off both of them for 5 prize cards. So we have 1 copy of the Blacephalon. This is another card that this is a card that I think if you want to have another copy, that will be fine. But we're just playing 1 copy of it in the deck. In terms of our support Pokemon, we have a whole bunch. We have 2 copies of Jirachi Amazing Rare, 1 copy of Celebi, 1 copy of Eldegoss, 1 copy of damaeg, and 1 copy of Crobat. So the best support Pokemon that we have in the game is, of course, going to be damaeg and Crobat. We also have a copy of Eldegoss and Celebi. Both the Jirachis and the Celebi are mainly used for getting our energy, because if we don't get an energy attachment on the first turn, the deck kind of falls apart. So the Jirachi and the Celebi can help us do that. The reason we're not just playing 3 copies of Celebi is because Jirachi can get us other cards as well. And of course, Eldegoss is going to be very nice. Just in the late game, have ourselves a searchable Boss's Orders. And we have 1 other Pokemon, and that is 1 copy of Jirachi GX to round out the Pokemon. Has that a Psychic Zone ability where all of our Pokemon that are weak to Psychic are no longer weak to Psychic anymore, and then has an attack for 1 Psychic energy where you search your deck for a energy and attach it to 1 of your Psychic Pokemon. And then GX attack is 3 Psychic energy, 100 damage, and prevent all damage done to the Pokemon by attack. So during your opponent's next turn. So we have Psychic energy because we need to be able to attack with the Supplement. So you can use Star Shield GX. It's the only GX attack you can usually want to use, but it's very hard to pull off since we don't have any energy acceleration. For our supporters, we have 4 copies of Professor's Research, 3 copies of Marnie, and 2 copies of Boss's Orders. The 3 best supporter cards in the game. This is usually how I like to play my supporters. I usually like to have 4 Research, 3 Marnie, 2 Boss, and Eldegoss. Just because this supporter lineup is perfect. You have your most aggressive draw as your highest count. Your second highest count is going to be your Disruption and your Hand Refresher, and then your Gust is your least highest. And we have 1 support Pokemon that can get any of these cards back. So pretty standard, I think. But if you're new to the game, this is a supporter lineup that you should play in your deck. In terms of our stadium cards, we have the 2 copies of Tower of Waters. This is a new card from Battle Styles, which gives our Rapid Strike Pokemon to play a retreat cost of 2 colorless less. Only Rapid Strike Pokemon we play is that Urshifu V and Urshifu VMAX, and they both have a retreat cost of 2, which means this basically says your Urshifu and Urshifu VMAX in play have free retreats. So it's the only really standard card that we need to play, I think. If you don't want to play them, you might want to play a Chaotic Swell over them. Next, we have 4 copies of Quick Ball, the best search in the game, of course. 4 copies of Switch, because our attack states that we need to be on the bench and then going to be active that turn. So 4 copies of Switch will help us do that very nicely. Now, this is the one that's different from the list that's already up on my channel. We have 4 copies of Pokemon Catcher. Pokemon Catcher is Boss's Order on a coin flip, essentially. But this card is just so good in this deck because it helps us get the tempo that we need. Because usually what we want to do is go first, get an energy attachment down on Urshifu, and then on our second turn, then we evolve, we attach energy to Urshifu or Blacephalon, Pokemon Catcher up our opponent's Pokemon that they're setting up, and hit it for an early 150 before our opponent's ready for it. So, as a Pokemon Catcher is 4. Also, it's really nice because Blacephalon will be taking 4 to 5 to even 6 prize cards. If you take 4 to 5 prize cards, I mean, Pokemon Catcher can just be a nice way to just like flip a coin of heads, bring up a Pokemon, and then set up another Urshifu for 1 energy and take a knockout on a support Pokemon. So, or just any Pokemon, depending on how many prize cards you have left. So that's why I think the 4 Pokemon Catcher is like really, really good in this specific build. To search out our VMAXs, 3 communications. Of course, put a Pokemon from your hand into your deck and get a Pokemon from your deck in your hand. So, just we only evolution we play is Urshifu. We play 4 copies of it, so it shouldn't be too hard to search it out. But in case we can't find it, we have those 3 copies of Pokemon Communication. We have 2 copies of Air Balloon, so we can attach it to those little support Pokemon like Jirachi and Celebi to give them free retreat, and also just give anything free retreat in general, so because you need to be able to come from the bench to be active to use Gale Thrust for the full damage effect. 1 copy of Escape Rope. This is coming out in Battle Styles, getting a reprint. But this in this deck is essentially a 5th switch. Because your VMAX Rapid Flow doesn't matter what's in your opponent's active spot. The Fireworks Bomb doesn't matter what's in your opponent's active spot. So Escape Rope is essentially just a 5th switch in a lot of situations. But you can use it for that secondary effect of being able to bring up one of your opponent's Pokemon that they choose. We have 1 copy of Reset Stamp. This is another thing that I would like to increase to a 2nd copy. But like I mentioned, a lot of the time you just want to be going full aggro, taking knockouts every single turn for the most part. So Reset Stamp, just a single copy will be nice in case you do fall behind in tempo. This card can be of use, especially since a lot of the time you're going to want to be able to Reset Stamp your opponent to 2 because they take a knockout on the Urshifu and the Blacephalon. So Reset Stamp, very, very nice card. And then our final trainer card we have in the deck is Telescopic Sight. Telescopic Sight is a tool card that when attached to a Pokemon, the Pokemon's attached to does 30 number damage to your opponent's bench Pokemon V and Pokemon GX. This makes VMAX Rapid Flow deal 150 damage to your opponent's bench Pokemon V and Pokemon GX. Most notably, things like support Pokemon, Blacephalon will need to place 1 damage counter on them, giving you room to take another knockout on maybe a littler Pokemon with 110 HP, for example. And then our energy, 4 copies of Rapid Strike Energy, 4 copies of Aurora Energy, copies of fighting energy, 2 copies of psychic energy, and 1 recycle energy. That is the energy in the list. This can help you get your VMAX rapid flow up and going. This can count as both fighting and psychic energy. We have our just raw fighting and psychic energy, and then 1 copy of recycle energy, which can make it so you don't have to dig as much for the energy attachment every single turn. This can just go immediately back in your hand. You can attach it back to your Urshifu or to a Blacephalon. So yeah, that is the cards that we have. Now the main strategy of this deck, I think I forgot to explain it, is that hit early with Rapid Striker Urshifu VMAX, finish things off with Docephalon because your opponent is now at 3 prize cards if they knocked out your VMAX. If they choose to not knock out your VMAX and go after the Blacephalon, this Urshifu will most likely be able to take a knockout on their main Pokemon anyways. So it's kind of like choose what you want to go after. A lot of times if they can, they will go after the Blacephalon, and that's when you can start setting up a second one of these guys for that when that one gets knocked out. So compromising situations that this deck can make your opponent have some compromising situations, which is nice. So yeah, this gets knocked out. We go on Blacephalon, take some prize cards, and then we finish out the game with another one of the VMAXs. So that's just how the deck works in general, but very, very powerful. When it works, extremely, extremely powerful. Being able to just take 5 or 6 prize cards, 4 or 5 or 6 prize cards, normally 4, but sometimes even 5, is just so, so powerful. Because especially it can be very hard for your opponent to come back. You knock out one of their support Pokemon and their main big Central Scorching Max, for example. It's going to be very hard to come back because now they're on a clock. They're on like a 1 to 2 turn clock. Can you respond in 1 to 2 turns? If you can't, then I just go Pokemon Catcher and then I win. So very, very powerful combo. I don't know if I can even stress this enough. This combo is so powerful. If you guys haven't given this deck a try, definitely go ahead and you will see what I mean. It's just so, so powerful when it all works out. So, and it does work out quite consistently because we have so many consistency cards too. Now here's something else I want to go over. I want to go over energy tempo. Energy tempo in this deck is extremely important because if you don't get the right energy tempo, you're going to fall behind and not be able to do what you want to do. So, first turn, you want to get down your V and get an energy attached to it. Something that can count for fighting energy, such as Aurora energy, or the Rapid Strike energy, or a basic fighting energy. So get something down your Urshifu V on your first turn that is a fighting energy. Second turn, you're going to want to evolve into your VMAX, attach any other energy, or alternatively, you can attach a energy that will work with Blacephalon to Blacephalon. This is when you Gale Thrust. You go Pokemon Catcher, Gale Thrust. Then you attach another energy, and then you use VMAX Rapid Flow. Hit their main Pokemon that you used Gale Thrust on, and a support Pokemon, such as a Dedenne, such as a Crobat. If they don't have a Dedenne or Crobat, just hit a little Pokemon. Take a free prize card. This gets knocked out, and you go up with your Blacephalon. You attach an energy that will work with it to it, and then you use Fireworks Bomb and place 12 damage counters. Take 4 or 5 prize cards. Then, in the meanwhile, while this guy's taking prize cards, you're going to be setting up a second Urshifu VMAX to take the last prize card with a boss or a Pokemon Catcher. So that is the energy tempo of the deck. If anything gets disrupted, such as Crushing Hammer, that's the main thing I worry about this deck. Deck is very susceptible to Crushing Hammer. I don't think there's anything you can do about that because there's no great acceleration to add to the deck. If you know your opponent is playing Crushing Hammers, maybe you just want to go the straight route. Maybe don't bother with the Blacephalon. But yeah, the cool thing about Blacephalon too is that it places 12 damage counters. If you're knocking out their main Pokemon, they don't have anything to respond with, you have the opportunity to place another 12 damage counter because they'll still be at 3 prize cards because they won't have been able to respond to this. So sometimes you can even get 2 turns of 12 damage counters. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for this video. I just went a little bit more in depth in the strategy of this deck, the things you can pull off. The thing you can pull off this deck is absolutely nuts because you can play it like a straight version or you can play it with the Blacephalon. So there's just so many options that this deck has, and I think that's what makes it so powerful. So yeah, I think that's going to be it for this video. If you guys liked it, make sure to leave a like, and if you guys like this kind of content, don't forget to subscribe. because I do a whole bunch of deck profiles and Pokemon trading card game stuff like this. But yeah, that is going to be it for this video. If you guys liked it, see you guys in the next video, and yeah, see ya.